Welcome to the California Department of Education's High School Equivalency and Proficiency Summer Convenings for 2024. Here at the California Department of Education, Don Kilmer is the Education Administrator of the Proficiency, Equivalency, and Fitness Testing Office, otherwise known as PEFT. Bernadine Holman is the Education Program Consultant for the High School Equivalency Program, and Geeta Raman is the Education Program Consultant for the California Proficiency Program. The resource guide will provide the outline for our presentation as well as links to valuable resources and provide our contact information. Topics for today, we'll be discussing the following: an overview of the High School Equivalency or HSE program, the new California Proficiency Program or CPP, and we'll also talk about the Homeless and Foster Youth Fee Waiver Program. All right, so I'll go ahead and begin with the Equivalency Program. California has approved 2 vendors to offer the high school equivalency exam. They are the GED Testing Service and PSI, who provides the HiSET exams. We are fortunate to have 2 options in California because some states just have one choice for their equivalency vendor. Let's talk about the high school equivalency eligibility. The equivalency exam is for individuals who meet one of the following criteria: not currently enrolled in high school, or 18 years of age or older, or 17 years of age under certain conditions or situations. For example, if they attend a special credit recovery program or are institutionalized. For more details on this, I provided a link in to the education code in the resource guide. GED and HiSET exams are divided a little differently. The GED exam combines reading and writing into one subtest, resulting in 4 total subtests, while the HSE, or the HiSET, separates the reading from the writing, resulting in 5 subtests. When I first came to this program, the way I remembered the difference is that the HiSET has 5 subtests, like saying high five, and the GED has 4 subtests. A common question I also get is, does the student have to take all subtests in one sitting? And the answer is no. The test can be scheduled 1 per day or 1 per week, whatever works best for the student. Both vendors offer accommodations, some that are available to all test takers who request them, and other accommodations that require specific documentation, usually from a school, a medical practitioner, or an advocate. You will find links in the resource guide to learn more about the various accommodations. In the next slide, I will cover the testing options available. The exam options are that GED and HiSET offer online testing from home, or, on the other hand, in person at a testing center. HiSET is the only vendor that offers paper and pencil testing at select testing centers. To find out what test centers offer paper and pencil, or what we call paper-based testing, you can find that information by going to the Where Can I Test HiSET webpage, and that link is provided in the resource guide. Now let's talk about how to prepare for the exams. Both vendors offer materials to practice, prepare, and study before taking the actual exams. There are some free materials and some fee-based materials that include practice tests and prep materials. And of course, there are adult school programs listed throughout the state. You will find links to all of these resources in the resource guide. After a student chooses an exam, they should know what the minimum passing scores are for each of the vendors. HiSET requires that at least a score of 8 on each of the 5 subtests is required, with a minimum total of 45. So that means a student cannot simply get a minimum score of 8 on all 5 subtests. That would only give them a total score of 4 and not the 45. That's just something to keep in mind. The current GED testing series requires at least a score of 145 per subtest with a minimum score total of 580. After meeting and hopefully exceeding the minimum scores, the test taker will have earned their California High School Equivalency certificate. Next, I'll talk about what credentials are provided after passing. HiSET passers will receive an email to a link to download electronic copies of both their transcript and certificate. These electronic documents come with a security ribbon that will disappear if the document is tampered with or altered in any way. Additional paper copies of each HiSET document will automatically be sent to the mailing address on the HiSET account. GED passers will also receive emailed links to download their electronic transcripts and certificates. However, to receive a paper copy, the passer will log in to the GED.com account and verify their mailing address before checking the box to obtain a free paper certificate. A paper transcript must be ordered. Speaking of placing an order or requesting reprints, I'll provide more details in the next slide on how to do this. So ordering reprints, and when you're ordering reprints of documents, there are 2 exclusive ordering websites, the HiSET Parchment and the GED Parchment online portals. We know of parchment orders that have actually been canceled because the passer tried ordering a HiSET document through the GED Parchment portal. The 2 portals do not cross over. Each vendor also has its distinct Parchment Help Desk phone number for inquiries. One thing to note is that orders cannot be placed over the phone, but there are mail order forms for those individuals who are not comfortable with online ordering. Links to the individual ordering web pages and these forms and customer service phone numbers can be found in the resource guide. Now, on to the new and exciting program. I'll hand it over to Geeta.
Hello, everyone. My name is Geeta Raman. I am the Education Programs Consultant for the California Proficiency Program. I'm going to go over the program with you guys today. The California Proficiency Program is designed for currently enrolled high school students that are either 16 years of age or enrolled in at least their second semester of 10th grade. I will go into more detail on the eligibility criteria later on in my presentation. The Proficiency Program was enacted by the California Education Code Section 48412 in 1973 to assist high school students that are excelling in high school and want to take the exam in order to begin attending higher education, or students that might have been struggling in high school due to circumstances outside of their control, such as having to take care of a family member, their mental health, or maybe they were being bullied. Our first recommendation is always to remain in high school and graduate with your peers, but we understand that high school just isn't the best fit for some students and for some circumstances. The CPP provides an alternate pathway to success for those students to earn their legal equivalent to a California State Board of Education issued diploma, known as a Certificate of Proficiency. And this Certificate of Proficiency is accepted by all California employers, junior colleges, state universities, and the universities of California, as well as some branches of the military. Before taking the exam, we always recommend that students check with their prospective university, employer, or branch of military they are interested in applying for to ensure that the certificate of proficiency is accepted and that all required coursework has been completed. The CDE utilizes the math, reading, and writing subtests of the high school equivalency exam offered by PSI HiSET to deliver the CPP. To reiterate, HiSET is the only vendor that offers the CPP. In order to pass the CPP, the test taker must meet the cut scores established by HiSET as College and Career Readiness Anchor Standards. The reason for this is because these individuals are currently enrolled in high school and they're receiving daily instruction, whereas the high school equivalency test takers are not currently enrolled in school and they're not receiving that daily instruction. I'll go over the passing scores later on in the presentation. In the next slide, I'm going to discuss the eligibility for the proficiency program. I've split the eligibility criteria up into two slides. So for part one, the first thing to remember when talking about the CPP is that these test takers must be enrolled in a California high school in order to be eligible to take the exam. These students are looking for an alternate path to exit high school in order to begin attending higher education or start their careers. Part one, and the most important part of the eligibility criteria for CPP, and I'm repeating this multiple times throughout the presentation, is that the test taker must be enrolled in a California high school. And the second criteria is that they could be 16 years of age and currently enrolled in a California high school. Or they may qualify to take the exam if they're currently enrolled in at least their second semester of sophomore year in high school. This could mean that the student might have skipped a grade and could still be 14 years of age, but still enrolled in their second semester of 10th grade. So that would mean that that individual qualifies to take the CPP. A student could be enrolled in their second semester of 10th grade for one school year or longer because they may be credit deficient and unable to move forward. And in that instance, that student would also qualify to take the CPP. I will cover part two of the eligibility criteria on our next slide. Okay, the second question to ask yourself when thinking about the CPP eligibility is, and I'm going to go over it in 3 questions and then elaborate further in detail. The first one is, are you enrolled in a California public high school? Or do you attend a private or homeschool, or are you homeschooled in California? And if so, have you filed a private or homeschool affidavit form? Or do you have a California work permit? If so, then you're subject to California compulsory education laws, and therefore you can take the CPP. If you don't qualify for CPP, you may qualify for the high school equivalency exam. Students must be currently subject to California compulsory education. You're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means that any minor living in California, which is anyone under the age of 18, they are subject to attending compulsory education. To prove that you're a minor in the state of California, you may be A, currently enrolled in a California K-12 public high school, or B, currently enrolled in a private or homeschool that has registered with the CDE by filing a private school affidavit document, or C, they have attained a California work permit issued by the Department of Industrial Relations, which means that they are working part-time and also receiving tutoring, or they are enrolled in an independent study program that accommodates their work schedule. For more detailed information, please read the eligibility criteria link that's posted in your resource guide. Now that we've covered the eligibility criteria for the exam, let's take a look at the testing options that are available to students. Students may take the test 24/7, 365 days a year. They may choose to take the test at a testing center through paper and pencil, or on the computer, or they could take it online through live proctoring. Students must ensure they have a reliable internet connection and a room free of distractions in order to test online at home. The next benefit that the CPP offers is that our students may take the CPP in either Spanish or English. And the third benefit that the CPP offers is that students will now have fast and easy access to their test results through their HiSET CPP online profile. Preliminary results will be available electronically within 48 hours of testing. Now that we've discussed testing options, let's take a look at what the passing scores are. Passing scores for the CPP are higher than the HSE, like I mentioned earlier, because these test takers are currently enrolled in high school and are receiving daily instruction. So these students should be able to demonstrate their proficiency in the subjects being tested. To meet the HiSET proficiency passing criteria, a candidate must score at least 15 out of 20 on each of the 3 subtests, which are mathematics, reading, and writing. They must score at least 4 out of 6 on the writing subtest essay, and they must achieve a total scaled score on all 3 HiSET subtests of at least 45 out of 60. On our next slide, I'll go over the different opportunities that are open to CPP passers after passing the exam. Students that pass the CPP earn a certificate of proficiency, which is the legal equivalent to a high school diploma issued by the State Board of Education. Upon passing the exam, there are 3 paths available to the student. It is all customizable and up to them to choose what best aligns with their needs and aspirations. They may choose to enter door number 1 and decide to exit high school in order to enroll in a California junior college or apply to a California State University, or they may apply to a University of California. Again, we advise all students to check with their prospective university to ensure they have taken all of the prerequisite courses needed to apply. The second option, or the second door that students may pick, is that they may choose to exit high school and begin their career. The certificate of proficiency is accepted by California employers as the legal equivalent to a high school diploma issued by the State Board of Education. Therefore, California employers will accept the certificate as a legal equivalent to a diploma. The third option that students may choose is that they might decide to exit high school and take the remaining high school equivalency subtests, which are science and social studies, in order to earn their high school equivalency certificate. And this opens even more doors than the CPP alone, because the HSE certificate is accepted across the country and internationally. In contrast, the certificate of proficiency is only sanctioned by state law, and therefore state universities and employers are the only ones legally bound to accept it. In the past, I have had experiences where out-of-state universities and employers may accept the CPP certificate, so that is why we always recommend for students to check in advance. The next thing I'd like to share is that there is no time limit on when a CPP passer can go back and take the remaining HSE subtests in order to earn their high school equivalency certificate. It is an option that is available to them whenever they may decide to do it. They do not have to take the remaining subtests to earn their equivalency certificate either. It is all up to them and what best meets their needs at that point in their life. I also want to share that after passing the CPP, students do not have to exit high school. They can choose to remain in high school and still attend junior college courses. or they could also work part-time and remain enrolled in high school. Everything is up to the student and parent what best meets their needs. Next, I'd like to discuss a valuable resource that is available to foster and homeless youth students. If you are under the age of 25 and are certified as a homeless youth by a homeless services provider or a foster youth as defined in Ed Code Section 48412, you may qualify for a fee waiver for high school equivalency and proficiency tests. For more detailed info on how to apply for the fee waiver and what it covers, please visit the Homeless and Foster Youth Fee Waiver page. The link is listed in your resource guide. There's also a link provided in your resource guide that allows you to gain information on the homeless certification form. You're welcome to follow us by subscribing to our weekly CDE Assessment Spotlight emails, or you may follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at CDE Assessments. And please make sure that you check the note-taking resource guide for all of the links to all of the valuable information we've shared with you guys. And to join the email list, send a blank email message to the list provided in your resource guide. And if you're a new subscriber, please visit the California Department of Education Assessment Spotlight webpage to find previous issues. With that, we would like to say thank you for listening to our recording today, and we do hope that we get to see you guys in person as we travel across California in order to share this valuable information on the CPP and the high school equivalency exams.